Welcome to Friday Night Chats. So it's been very hot in LA. I have my AC running. I know that you can hear it, but it's just unnecessary evil. Yeah, it's getting really warm here in LA. I'm sure at different places around the country it's hotter, right? But yeah, it's been getting a little bit warm, so we need the air conditioning. So today I'm going to be covering TV, movies, books, comic books, internet news, and a few personal things when it comes to YouTube. So yeah, I got a lot to get through. So we're gonna start with two shows that I've watched on TV. Now, I won't give spoilers, but I will talk a little bit about them and show pictures. But it's just going to be general topic. So the first one, because I know Black Mirror is a very popular show, so I won't be giving any spoilers, but I'm going to be giving my thoughts. So there were 5 episodes of the latest season, and this is a snapshot of each one. So what I'm going to say is that I really enjoyed this season. I won't say it's the best season, although it did have one of my favorite episodes, and I'll talk a little bit about why, of all the seasons. Now, one thing that happened in this season is that they strayed away from tech quite a bit, and they're delving into other social topics. And while I don't mind that, as long as it's done well, it does detract from the main lure of this show that really does examine, technology and future uses of technology and abuses of technology, etc., etc. So there were 5 shows, and I think these are in order. The first one is Joan is Awful, and here's a thing from it. Joan is Awful is about how a streaming service, how an AI creates a TV show and streams it. And it uses real life people. But because people sign contracts when they join a streaming service, they can't fight back. And it's actually one of the better episodes of this season because it does deal with technology. So I recommend that one. Next is Loch Henry. And this is about a guy that goes to visit his family, and then his girlfriend wants to dig up an old murder because they are documentary filmmakers, and those true crime dramas are really popular on streaming services, and what ensues from that. So this is more like a horror episode, and I enjoyed it, but it's not one of the more successful ones of this, although I did see online someone ranked this one as being the best of the season, but I disagree. Beyond the Sea is one that happens in space, and this is about 2 people in space, but they have I don't know how to say that. They're kind of like robot bodies back on Earth. And the consequences of that. I really liked this episode just because of the sci-fi element. Maisie Day is about paparazzi. Let me find the picture for that. Paparazzi hounding stars. This one had a very strange twist in it. I understood the twist. It dealt directly with the theme of what's going on here. But again, it was more horror oriented than technology oriented. And so for me, this one, again, it was a very good episode, but it really didn't belong in Black Mirror. And the last one, I'm gonna bite my tongue, because the last one is probably one of my favorite episodes of all. I loved this episode so much. Now, a friend of mine watched it and she didn't like the violence, and so I get it. I don't mind violence in shows that much, and so This one is called Demon 79. And for anybody who is a fan of Kill or Be Killed, then you will like this episode. Now, again, it doesn't really deal with technology. No, it doesn't. But it ended up being one of my favorite episodes of the season. So, if you're a fan of Black Mirror, you definitely have to watch this season. If you're a casual viewer, I would watch maybe Jonah's Awful, because it's because of the star power in that one. It's got I'm forgetting her name, but she's a very big star. How am I forgetting her name? I'll show you her picture. How did I forget her name? Oh my gosh. Sorry, I can't remember her name right now. But she's great, and she's in the episode. So I think if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, then you should watch Beyond the Sea. And yeah. So the next show that I watched was Secret Invasion, which is a new Marvel show. And I watched 3 episodes. I think there's only 4 available. I'm not sure if they're releasing one at a time. But when I started watching it a couple nights ago, I watched 3 in a row. And I'm going to say that I was pretty bored with it. I mean, it's not awful by any means. It just, it's trying to be a spy show. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think some of the the Captain America and the Falcon one, a Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that was kind of more spy, Cold War intrigue type stuff. I don't know. For some reason, this one is just not grabbing my attention. I'm definitely going to keep watching it. Like I said, it's not horrible by any means, but it just is not as good as the other Marvel shows. There's going to be a dip once in a while. Maybe it will get better. Okay, on to movies. I saw a bunch of movies this week. Now, the beginning of the week started off bad, and it's my husband's fault. He watches these and he knows he picks some real stinkers at the beginning of the week. So the first one that he picked was, let me find the picture. The first one that he picked was 84 Brady, and there it is. Now, this is a comedy about 4 older women who like, I guess, the Patriots. I don't know. I don't like football. Wait, was it football or baseball? Who cares? It's football. This movie was so bad. It was so bad. And I'm a fan of all the actresses. I mean, I really love Sally Field. I saw her live. Who doesn't like Jane Fonda and Rita Moreno? I mean, she's stellar. But man, this movie was a stinker. Ugh. I hated it. My husband loves comedies. He hated it. I don't know what kind of fan base this will have. Maybe if you're older and you're into football. That's the only fan base I can think of for this. No, I would avoid this movie. Next was the movie 65. Since I like sci-fi, I enjoyed this. I think my husband did enjoy it as well. I'm not going to say it's the best sci-fi movie ever made. It's basically 2 people have to survive on a foreign, hostile planet under adverse conditions, and they're surrounded by dinosaur-like creatures. So, fun. I enjoyed it. I would just say, if you like sci-fi and you want a fun action movie, then you won't be dissatisfied with this one. Next, The Outlaws. This was another one my husband picked, and we watched it the next day after this. And again, this has Ellen Barkin and oh god, I'm going senile. I don't remember his name, but anyways, one of the James Bonds. And he's known for so much more than that. Sorry, not to reduce his career to a single role. He's a great actor. This movie stunk. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. The Outlaws. So he's getting married to her, but her parents happen to be outlaws. It was just so bad. Even again, my husband hated it, and he loves comedies. I absolutely hated it. I could not wait for this stinker to be over. If if you liked either of those movies, please tell me why in the comments. But I really dislike comedies. But yeah, like I said, my husband likes comedies, and he picked it. He did not like it either. Okay, so I was scrolling through a website, and it listed all these movies that are streaming that you should watch. So I took pictures of all of them, and I'm just going through them. I think I got about 8 of them. And so far, I've gone through about 4 of them. Now, the first one that it recommended was the Scream 6, which is the most recent Scream movie. And it said it was good, because better than the last one. But it built on the last one. So we went ahead and watched the one right before this from 2022. And it's got some, it's got a lot of people from the original franchise. And then it especially has this young lady, which, I don't know her name, but she was Wednesday in the show Wednesday. So she, broke out and became really famous from that role. So this movie, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's just like all these other movies. Like the funny thing is, they go through all these traumatic killings and stabbings, number one, and then they sit down and they start saying, well, you could be the killer because of, and they start listing all the rules. Now, I know it's very meta, and it's kind of interesting the way they break down horror movies, but it just seems odd. And then the next day, we watched Scream 6, which actually moves to New York. So it follows the rules. It breaks the, anyways, it just follows some of the rules of horror movies. And again, I couldn't wait for it to be over. It was okay for what it was, but it's just gratuitous violence for no point. And then it just tries to build on what came before, but do it bigger and better. And that's actually one of the rules that they talk about. But the thing that I can't stand is almost everybody gets stabbed twice, and they're still walking around fighting. I don't get that. Can you get stabbed really hard in the stomach twice, and then get up and for 30 minutes still beat people up and swear at people? I don't know. I guess I know they're dumb horror movies, but when they're that unrealistic, it just kind of really turns me off. So I would say no on both of those, unless you're a big Scream fan. You're gonna like them. And it is fun to see all the older generation interacting with the newer generation, but there are much better movies out there. I thought the Final Destination movies were way better than the Scream movies. Okay. So now we're going to get to some substance. The last 2 movies I watched were good. And so the first one is this movie called Inside, starring Willem Dafoe. And in fact, it's pretty much a one-man show. Now, the problem with this movie is it tries to become very philosophical, and it becomes overlong. But it's basically, Willem Dafoe is an art thief, and he enters this guy's condo apartment or just condo probably, on the top floor of a building, and he gets locked in, and he can't get out. And the people in the apartment have been gone, so the water's off, the gas is off, there's nothing in the refrigerator, and he's really stuck there, and he can't get out. And so it becomes like a survival movie where he's trying to survive, just getting water, getting food. Oh, and also when he was trying to stop the alarm, he smashes the controls, and so the temperature cycles up to 104 degrees and then cycles back down to about 40 degrees and then cycles back up. So he's continually going through these heat waves and Cold Waves. It's, and of course, he's amazing. Now, what it does do, though, is it tries to bring in all these themes of isolation and what it's like to be an artist, and how artists have difficulty connecting with people, and all these things. They take a really interesting movie and they just kind of bring it down too much. I did like the ideas that it was presenting, but for me, it just went on a little bit too long. But I do recommend this movie, but just be prepared. It's going to get cerebral. And especially if you just want to see Willem Dafoe's performance. He's great. He's basically the only one on the screen for almost the entire movie. And the last movie is going to be my favorite. It's called Holy Spider. Watch this one today. Now, this movie poster or whatever doesn't do this any justice. This movie is great. So, first of all, it's in Persian. It takes place in Iran. It's based on a real serial killer story, and it's really about the divide, the sexual divide in Iran, because an Iranian woman is a journalist, and she's fighting her way through this male-dominated society to try to get these women whose lives are deemed worthless because they're prostitutes. So they even celebrate when the serial killer kills these women, because it's a holy city and the serial killer is deemed as performing a service to cleanse the city. Like this movie really gets into the society, religion. It's so good, and the performances are really good as well. I highly recommend this, but I know some people don't like to read. I'm getting TCAT published a video. I gotta watch it right after this. Good job, TCAT. He's back. So I highly recommend this, but you will have to read subtitles. I know some people don't like to do that. Wow. Of all the movies I listed today, this is by far the best, but it's very graphic. Okay, there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of sex in this movie that I was kind of shocked by, like what they show, especially in a movie that takes place in Iran. I was kind of shocked. I'm not put off at all, but I was shocked to see it in that kind of a movie, right? Foreign movie from Iran, but very good movie. All right, let's move on. 2 books that I read were the first one was Confess. Now, I made a video about Confess, and I actually finished it the next day, and I have all my notes. So I'm going to jump to something I was going to talk about at the end. But Larry's Library told me, hey, you only get 3 videos a day, and after that, they don't alert your subs. I did not know that. And so I've been making a 1-minute video every day. That's a blackjack video, and I think I might stop because from my vacation, I'm so far behind. And so that 1 minute a day video is taking away from a longer form video that I could be releasing. So I think I'm going to wrap up my series on the blackjack. I'm going to put it all into one video. But I have really been enjoying doing those videos. Just because I have so many videos that I need to get caught up on. And this is one of them that suffered. Like, I have the second part. I have all my notes ready to go. It seemed that a lot of people liked the first part. And so I really do want to touch on some of the issues, because a bunch of people started talking about issues that come up in the second part of the book, and I do want to go over those. So I need to get that filmed, but because of that 3 limit a day, I haven't been able to. And so like I said, I'm going to get back to this book, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I do recommend this book if you're into rock and roll or gay issues. There you go. I saw this poster for The Thing. I think it was like a fan-made poster. I'm not sure. Kurt Russell, because I just loved that poster, so thought I'd show that. Since they're here, I was going to do this at the end, but I saw these pictures on Facebook. This is watermelon art. It's made out of watermelon. Well, duh, that's what watermelon art is, but I'm saying that out of shock. Look at that. That's insane. There was another one. That can't be. It looks like it's made out of ivory, which you shouldn't carve out of, but. Okay, so here we go to my book. The second book I read. So, Frankenstein by Jeanette Winterson. Now, Jeanette Winterson is a very famous writer. She did Orange is Not the Only Fruit, I think it was called. I've actually never read anything by her, and that's a shame because this book was good. Now, it starts off, well, she starts off by writing about Mary Shelley and the time when she was with Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley. They're all together in the mansion. Okay, I'm not an expert on that, but it's so many writers write about this. And so I was wondering, like, what new could she bring to it? Forget it. The opening part where she's describing how damp everything is and suffering through the dampness, I was hooked. Wow, she's a good writer. The detail in that, I really felt what she was writing about. So good. But the book jumps in this time period, and then it makes parallels in a modern time period where there is a young doctor named Victor Stein, and he is messing with body parts to try to overcome death, just like the original Frankenstein, to basically elongate life. And there's another two people who are selling sex bots. Now, I know that sounds totally crazy, but this works. Now, I thought it got a little convoluted, but the ideas are all there, and that's basically what this book ends up being. Oh, there's also a really important trans character, and that idea of trans becomes central to this because it relates back, all of the themes relate back to Frankenstein, right? And how, I don't want to get into all the themes because you could really go in depth. There's a lot in this book. I'm just saying it does get convoluted. It might get a little bit too difficult for some readers, but if you take the time, I believe that this is a highly enjoyable book, and the ideas in there are solid. They're fun to explore. Frank discussions of sex and sexuality, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I recommend it, especially it's not that long. So, Frank, if any of the stuff that I've talked about is intriguing to you, I would read this. At least read the first couple of pages where she talks about the dampness. I thought the writing there was fabulous. Okay, so those were the two books that I read this week. Comic books. Oh, I'm going through this quickly. That's good. I finished both of these, and I'm so proud of myself because I haven't sat and read for so long. I listen to a lot of things, and it's really difficult to force yourself to sit and read because you're so used to grabbing the phone or you're so used to jumping on the TV and watching something. And I forced myself every day to sit and read these. I would be getting tired because at a certain time of the day, not only because of the heat, but as I think I'm getting older, I just like a nap. I forced myself through it. And another thing about these older comics, there's so much writing on every page that you're not going to get through them quickly. But I'm trying to go through all the graphic novels that I have of Jack Kirby. And if anybody would like me to break down the art, I won't go through the stories too much. But I'm comparing Jack Kirby art from two different periods. And in fact, the next one I'm going to read is Fantastic Four, which came directly after this, but way before this. And so I'm jumping through his career, and I'm looking at the different art styles over his career. I already went through the first 4 issues of this book, but there's 20 of them. And in fact, I'm so happy because I just ordered volume 2. I'm so happy that volume 2 is coming out, and I'll be able to finish the Jack Kirby run on Kamandi. So, like I said, if anybody's interested in me talking and showing examples of the artwork from both of these in a little bit more in depth, then please put that in the comments, and I will certainly make a video for that. And now we're at the part where I'm going to talk about different items in the news. And it might go a little bit over 30 minutes, but it's okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is there was, I think it was called Twitch, I think. They had some kind of convention, and they set up a foam pit, and 2 people would stand up here and they would hit each other and try to knock each other down. Now, the first day, someone was knocked down off of and was injured. And the people didn't realize, or they didn't care, and they didn't fix it. And basically, there's a concrete floor under here, and they just threw some styrofoam cubes on top of it. And so this woman knocked this woman down, and she was doing a victory jump, thinking that this is all foam. She did this, and if you watch the video, she comes down with her legs up in the air like that. She comes down directly onto her back, and she smashed her back in a couple of places. It's horrific. Like when I saw the video, and then she turns over and they're asking her if she's okay, and she's crawling and she's saying no. They had to rush her to surgery. She had 5.5 hours of surgery. She had so many breaks in her back. She said that she couldn't pee properly. Just horrific. And the company is trying to blame another company who set it up, and it's really shocking that, and they're also trying to get out of it because everybody who went in there signed a waiver. It's really, really horrific. If you see this video, like, I can't even watch it. And knowing what's going to happen, it's really a shocking video. So I don't know if you've heard about that, but man, that's such a sad story, because she was an athlete, and she was there based on her athletic skills, and she's never going to be an athlete. Well, I shouldn't say that, right? People can come back from severe back injuries, but I mean, she's never going to be the same again. There was a boy who's, I think, slightly or almost all deaf. He was with his father in Target, and these people came up to him and said they were like Mr. Beast, and they were going to give them, put blindfolds on them or something, and they had, I don't know, like 2 minutes to run around the store and fill up the cart, and then they'd get to keep everything. What they did was, they weren't with Mr. Beast, they filmed it, and then it was a prank, and then they laughed and ran away. And of course, this poor kid was horrified, because he was actually a fan of Mr. Beast, and there was this huge outcry. Target actually gave them a $200 gift card or something like that, so he could go through the store to make up for it. It wasn't Target's fault. But yeah, the pranking is getting out of control, and they're doing it all for TikTok videos. And so, I mean, TikTok is really bringing out the cruelty in a lot of people. That leads to another TikTok video where there was a woman on a plane, and she had her dog in a carrier, and I guess she took the dog out and put it in her lap, and then they were forcing her to get off the plane. Now, I don't know if there was more to it than that, but she was arguing and fighting with the people. She didn't want to get off the plane. She was like pleading her case, whatever. But people were holding their phones up and filming everything. And I think this led to the problem. She got so angry, she told people to stop filming. She took a water bottle and threw it at one of the people. And of course, that's an assault charge right there, and then she's going to be on the no-fly list. My little thing from my cuts is falling down. I think the phones, like they were recording everything because people love this, but I'm going to tell you something. If I had been on the plane, I wouldn't have been recording that. I would have been watching for sure, but I wouldn't have been one of the people holding out my phone and recording that. So it's like we get people in their worst and then they film and they make it worse. And I mean, I don't know if she would have, gone all the way that she did, but I think the filming made it much worse. But people are so quick to whip out those cameras and film everything. Needless to say, she got thrown off the plane. I want to talk about, this is music. He introduced me to a new word called polysyndeton. And so polysyndeton is when you basically have a run-on sentence for effect. So you keep adding more, ands, buts, ands. You keep it going with like ellipses, whatever you do to make it much longer for effect. So thank you, this is music. That was a new word for me, polysyndeton. Another TikTok challenge was you have to be on a speeding boat and you have to jump off the boat as it's speeding, and this has resulted in 4 deaths. At least, we don't even know how many injuries. So people jump off the boat and they snap their neck because they don't realize that at a certain speed, when you jump off a boat, it's like hitting a rock. And another TikTok challenge, like these are young people. And as one YouTuber stated, imagine the horror, because the people on the boat, this isn't some random place. The people on the boat pretty much are your friends and family. And they're filming you. And they're filming your death. I mean, these TikTok challenges, I think they need to stop. I talked about the phone bit. Oh, I want to talk about death by VHS. Now, I had heard of this before. Do I actually have it open here? I think I do. Let me see. Let me open up. Here we go. Let me see if, oh yes, I do. So death by VHS, he takes modern movies and he puts them onto VHS and he prints out, I would like to have that one. And he prints out the VHS carton and everything. And B-Sides and her husband, David, they ordered some and they showed some of these. And I was like, I've seen these before. But man, they're so nice. I would actually like to have a couple of the A24 ones. But they're $30 each. It's a little pricey. But I would like to have Hereditary. And I would like to have... The other one that I wanted was... oh my gosh, I can't think of the name. Where... Jesus, why can't I think of the name? Where the people go, I think, to a Scandinavian country, and I better stop because I can't even explain this movie. It's an A24 movie where a group of young people, they go to this, I think, Scandinavian remote village, and there's all kinds of like, how do I say? It's pagan rites going on. What is that called? It begins with an S. They have that one, but that one's also sold out. Okay, I need to move on because my memory is no good here. Okay, and I think that's it, except for one more. Yeah, there's one more. So my daughter was like, have you seen this? And she sent me a video. And the video was of this huge dome that they have in Las Vegas. Now, I have not seen this dome. This must be new. You can see all my fingerprints on it. But basically, inside and outside, they have a way of making video. Now, when I was in Las Vegas, they have this street that's got a kind of like electronic roof. I don't know what to say, but it has constant video going as you're walking down the street. It is so crazy bright, but so cool. And so now you got this gigantic dome that is also making these images. So for example, like that. Now, my daughter and her boyfriend got tickets to U2 that are in this dome. It's going to be the first concert there. And the tickets cost her $700. I was like, what? 2 tickets total, like with the fees and everything. And she doesn't even know U2. Her boyfriend's the one that wants to go. And I'm like, you need to start listening to some U2. I mean, $700. That's crazy. But they're also going to show the first movie, and it's by Darren Aronofsky. He's an amazing director. And so they're going to show a movie in this dome, but the tickets are $70. $70 to see a movie. It's kind of worth it. I think I would do it. I would go and see a movie inside this dome where the image is projected 300. That wouldn't be 360, would it? 360 all around you. Maybe 360, at least 180 all around you. That's cool. And I can't wait to go to Las Vegas and drive by this thing. So there you have it. Those are my news events. Oh my gosh, it is longer than I thought. Okay, so if there's anything that I talked about that you want to comment on, please do so. I will see you again next week for my Friday night chats. And if you listen to all 40 minutes of this, I thank you so much. And I also want to thank you in advance for your comments. And I want to thank you for your support.